Hey girl, I got 7 questions you should be asking yourself to figure out if that man is the right one for you. First question is, what do you admire about the person? And are those traits rooted in Christ? Because we can be so in love with somebody and they're not even a man of God, you know? So sometimes we got to get outside of our flesh and figure out, is this man carrying any of the fruits of the Spirit? The second realistic question you need to ask yourself is, do I feel peace or do I feel tension when I think about a future with him? So is this just like something temporary, or do you even think about marriage with this person? Or even if you are thinking about marriage, what does that look like? What would that look like? Just envision it just for a second, based off of the person, who the person is, the lifestyle that he lives, the traits that he carries. For instance, for myself, I remember dealing with guys that I knew, like, I would never actually marry. Like, I would never consider for marriage. These guys were, like, in the streets, heavy, didn't know God. And first and foremost, if a man doesn't know God, he can't love you properly, and that's period. I don't care how you twist it, turn it, flip it, and reverse it. He can't love you properly. You can entertain something and find out the hard way. I would say just listen to God on that. He can tell you what's best, and he will tell you what's best. The third question is, are you talking to God about this person more than you're talking to other people? What you'll find is you'll be in your flesh and you'll be, oh my God, like, he's so perfect. Like, I see a future with him, yada, yada, yada. And you hear from God, and God is like, nah. So are you avoiding that conversation with God because you know this person ain't no good? And talking to your friends, we've all been there. Just being delusional, or like just really trying to not consult with God on it because we know it's not what he would say yes to. What would your life look like if God said no to this person? Like, no, it's not him. Will you still be following God's plan for your life, or nah? Any person or thing that you have to get outside of God, you'll have to stay outside of God in order to keep it, or them. Does this person take you away from the plan that God has for you? These are things to consider. Do you even know what God's plan is for you? Is this person helping you to figure that out? What values do you want in a husband, and does this person reflect those values? These are things you should be thinking about when you think about the person who you want to be with, or who you think is for you. What type of family does this person come from? Does his values align with the things that you will want from the person that you would consider for marriage? See, God's way is going to be the best way, more over our own. When we go our own way, we'll go through things that we didn't have to go through, doing it our way. Because God's way is always best. He created us. So why wouldn't the way that he wants things to go for us be what's best? He knows exactly what we need. But sometimes we get in our own way. And the sixth question, I've already pretty much said, does this person draw me closer to God? That's a big one. Like, are you feeling like you're disconnected from God with dealing with this person? Does this person pour into you? Does this person keep you on track with God? It's nothing worse than two people who are not on track with God. Like, imagine that. You just out here lost. And as the man, he's supposed to lead you. So a man who is not God-fearing can't lead you to nowhere but hell. Literally. The last question is, What specific things have you saw in this person's life that shows signs of spiritual maturity? Very important. When you get into an argument, does this person shut down? Does this person still handle you with kindness, with patience, those fruit of the spirit? We just gonna assume that this is how you handle a person. But does this person also do the same? Because it's important. It's nothing worse than dealing with a person who does not even understand these things. Because then you're doing everything alone. And that's the hard part about dealing with men who are not saved or who do not know who God is. Because it's almost like you'll have to teach them everything. Or it'll take a while for them to even get it. Who wants to be involved with a person, especially married to someone who you gotta wait for them to catch up? And I mean, sometimes people decide that that's what they want to do. I personally don't feel like God had intentions for things to happen in ways that they do. But I think as people, we just go in our own way. Things don't necessarily end up being the way that God intended for them to be, but they're not like that bad either. But what I can say is I really do feel like God's way is what's best, and if we just focus on his purpose and just really trying to do things his way, we will reap the benefits of a life with Christ. And let's not take away from the fact that it could be hard waiting on God, because sometimes you feel like, where is God, right? But I promise you, trusting in his plan is far better than doing it our own way. Most times when we do things in our own strength, we are miserable. I would just say, ask yourself these questions. And where these questions actually came from is me asking myself these things, helping me to cancel out people who are not great candidates. It's important to ask ourselves these questions no matter how we feel. Whether you're in a space where you feel lonely and you just want something, this is obviously going to be for women who just really want God's best for them. Because some people may look at this and be like, girl, no. My man is my man. And it's also hard to walk away from situations that you're already in, that you feel like are what's best. But I'm telling you, ask yourself these questions. If the man and his ways does not reflect back to God and his principles, red flags us. And you can very much deal with somebody because you want to, because you have that choice. But at the end of the day, would you rather have things go exactly how they were supposed to, or just have to deal with unnecessary obstacles and hurdles because of the fact that you decided to do things your own way in your own strength? That's what I think about. Of course, sometimes, because of sin, we end up entertaining things. This is why it's always good to ask yourself these questions like, okay, what am I doing? I ask myself, what am I doing so much? So much. And it also gets kind of annoying, especially when you are, getting older and you're feeling like, what's going on? Especially in your love life, like, what is happening? I'm not coming to you from a place of, I think I know it all and I got it all figured out, because absolutely not. That is not the case. I'm coming to you sis to sis. And I feel like when you're chosen by God, you cannot even settle in things comfortably. I know this is not right, and at some moment God is going to show me that it's not right, and I'm going to have to either choose my own way and keep entertaining it, or I'm going to just know that this is not going to work. And sometimes God even make it to the point where it's not going to work. If you think that you was going to sit in that being a daughter of Christ. He's like, nope, actually, we're gonna do this. You can be as delusional as you want in that moment, but child, you come out of that kicking and screaming while God is dragging you out of the situation. Saying all this to say, sis, I want you to get your best. And your best is God's best for you. You should remember that God only wants what's best for you. In anything in life, not just dating. And I don't think you came across this video by coincidence today. I think if we realized how much God really, truly loved us, we would be on board. Like, I just want God to be a part of every decision that I make. Because I know me as a person, like, I'm nothing without God. It's 2025. We've been doing it our way for too long. Time to do it God's way. Time for us to exercise our purpose in the meantime. And know that if marriage is the goal, God will send someone specifically for you. And that He has someone for you. You don't have to go out and look for them. God will present them to you. And take heed to the signs, sis. Don't ignore them. Or you end up in a crazy situation that you don't even want to be in. I saw myself headed down a road where I would be with a man who didn't even know God. And I would be absolutely miserable. I saw that. Guess who came through and swept me right out of that situation? Just by showing me what that would look like for me with the actions of the person who I was actually considering. When that man that had no grace for me and I gave him all the grace in the world, that was when I knew that ain't nobody that I want to be with. And this ain't me saying break up with everybody, break up with whoever you're dealing with, but it is very important for you to consult with God about the person that you're dealing with. Because it could very much be that you could have the right person at the wrong time. There's a lot of things that can be happening. It's mainly about us just focusing on what God has for us in our purpose. And then if He decides to bring someone along, then that's great. But focusing on relationships and stuff really does nothing but distract us from the purpose that God has for us. Another thing is, do you feel rushed or do you feel at rest when it comes to that person? Like, do you feel like you have to rush to do anything? I.e., have sex? Like, all of these things that go against the will of God, like the things that He naturally tells us not to do. Do you feel like you have to do these things in order to have this person actually like you and stuff like that? Those are things to consider when thinking about this person and if this person is for you or not. And this is for my girls who are abstinent or thinking about it, or if this video just came across you and you have no idea of any of these things. These are things that you should be thinking about when considering a man. First of all, are you both on the same journey? Because if you're not, it's not going to work out. I'm just here to tell you that. If you are not on the same journey, it's not going to work out. If you feel like you're forcing it, absolutely not. I feel like there are ways that God created things to happen, like the order of things for a reason. And when we go outside of that order, we do nothing but disappoint ourselves, literally. What I love about God, He doesn't allow me to be delusional for too long. Or even when I decide to entertain things that I know are not good for me, He doesn't penalize me for it. Is this man intentional about you? Questions that need answered. In what ways? Is he intentionally just trying to have sex with you? And as women, we know the signs. We ignore them, but we know. We'll entertain them. We'll convince ourselves that this is right. But all along, we know it's not right. So let's not be fooled by people who act like they are men of God too, because that's a thing. You'll be convincing yourself like, oh, all men are the same, when really you just ran into a man that is not really a man of God. He playing that role, and you know when they playing that role, because nothing is absolutely nothing reflecting Christ at all. All in all, my loves, we always talk about self-care, about being in our soft girl era. And the best way to be in our soft girl era is to really want what's best for ourselves. Not putting ourselves through any unnecessary trauma, doing things God's way. I hope you guys have an amazing day. And I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.